Creepy Tale is not my normal sort of game that I would play. I generally play ARPGs and bullet hells, but after playing Inside and Limbo, I've gone on a bit of a tangent. I'm playing some puzzle platformers, and one of the recommended games was Creepy Tale. And it looks like something maybe out of the 80s or 90s. It's quite the throwback. It's not stunning, like the visuals aren't stunning, as you can see. But there was something about the puzzles that kept me playing. It's kept me hooked a little bit. I got stuck at the very beginning. I couldn't work out how to get in the hut. If you play it, then you understand. I won't even give it away. But it surprised me. And rather than being frustrated and giving up on the game, for some reason, I really wanted to get into that hut and I wanted to work out how to do it. I don't know if any of you are as old as me and you played any of what I would call the North, South, East, West games from the 80s, where there's a lot of text on the screen and you could choose, do you want to go north, south, east, or west? And depending on where you would go, you would discover other things. For some reason, this game made me think of that. It probably works better with mouse and keyboard. I've seen it described as a point-and-click game. I played it with controller and I played it on Steam Deck. I was bouncing between the two. At the moment, I'm looking for games that will play well on both Steam Deck, but also if I'm sat on a sofa with a controller playing on a 65-inch TV. And somehow this works. It doesn't look like it should work. I'm going to have footage playing for you. I don't want to try and give anything away, but I've left a few hints in there because it's harder than it seems. It's only going to take you 2 hours to complete. I actually had to refer to a guide twice in order to do it. But for some reason, I stuck with it. You'll move on to another area and you've just got to clear it. There's like a witch's hut where you're in it and you've got to get down the other floor. You've got to get past her, so you're going to hide in a cupboard. But you've got to time everything right, and then you've got to work out how to get the key. And it's interesting. It shouldn't work. It should not be the sort of game that I would play. There's actually 4 of them. This is the first one. The first one takes a couple of hours. I think I bought them all together, or I picked them all up at the same time. It was about £1 a game, maybe $1 a game. It's very little. So $1 for 2 hours of your time that was fun. There was no grind here. I wasn't forcing myself to play it. If I wasn't going to play it, I wasn't going to keep going and I wasn't going to make any content about it. But for some reason, it stuck with me. So I did a scripted review about it. But this is, I've completed the game and now I'm talking about it off the top of my head. There's nothing scripted here. I just want to give my honest feedback. And I would recommend this game. I don't even know why I would recommend this game, but I enjoyed it. The puzzles were hard. The puzzles were not like other games. Again, I mentioned Inside and Limbo. Puzzles aren't like those at all. I've just done a video for Omno, which I completed, and I'm looking forward to doing a video for Journey, which I also completed recently. The puzzles in Creepy Tale are not like the puzzles in either of those either. It's something strange. You're going to have to find out which mushrooms are going to go in the pot, and then you're going to have to put them in the right order. But you could also do it in a different way. And then there's later on, you've got to find a book, and the book's going to give you some sort of recipe. And you're going to have to work out where that recipe goes. And there's a lot of information in the book that you don't really need. You also got to really pay attention to what's on the ground. It seems silly, but you walk along and you'll knock the leaves away, and there'll be something on the ground. But I'm so used to being cued as to what I need to see and what I need to pick up, is that I was missing things like that, and I wasn't really paying attention to it. Oh, there's an acorn on the floor, is there? Okay. But actually, you need the acorn. I won't tell you any more than that, but you really do need the acorn. It's interesting. The buttons kind of progress the story, but everything else is actually necessary. And you're not fed a lot. It's not easy. It's not obvious. I found it hard. Like I said, I referred to the guide, I think, a couple of times on this game. There's trial and error as well. The trial and error can be a little bit frustrating, or maybe it goes on a little bit too long. But again, for some reason, I stuck with it. I really wanted to get through it. I wanted to fix it. And it reminded me of something. There's a bit where you're jumping on platforms and you got to get the right order. It reminded me of Manic Miner for some reason, which was an 80s game I had on the Spectrum, or maybe you played on the Commodore 64. One of the best platformers, certainly from the 80s. I think it's the Jet Set Willy guy, probably more people familiar with Jet Set Willy. But Manic Miner is one of the most memorable games I have from my childhood. And again, the puzzle, it's not the same. It doesn't look like it. It's not pixelated. You could have a Metroidvania pixel graphics that would look a bit like this. Doesn't look like it at all. But there was something that reminded me of that. So it was just different. It shouldn't work. It shouldn't have kept me playing. It looks pretty naff. It doesn't really... Controls aren't great. Like I was mentioning earlier, point and click makes sense, but when you're playing with a controller, you've actually got to walk over to everything and click on it. I'm guessing with mouse and keyboard or mouse, you could click on something on the other side of the screen and maybe you would walk over and check it. Maybe even when you mouse over an item, it would indicate that it does something. Maybe the hand gets big, you know what I mean? But with controller, it doesn't. You've got no pointer. You actually got to walk over there. So you're constantly sort of shrugging and it's, oh, I'm sure. But it's interesting and it kept me going and I would recommend it. I wouldn't recommend spending a lot of money on it, and you're certainly not going to spend a lot of time on it. The first game is 2 hours long. I haven't played the others, but I believe that they range from 2 to 6 hours to complete. So you could maybe complete all 4 games in under 10 hours. And mostly what I play are games that's going to take 100 hours or something like that. And I get bored with them in the end, or I take too long of a break away from them. And when I come back to it, I've forgotten how to play anything. I've forgotten where I am. And then I restart it. And then I've got another 100 hours to play through. So there's something to be said about playing these shorter games. And I think that a shorter game is like a movie, whereas the longer games are like a box set. And there's something to be said for just sitting down and enjoying a 2-hour movie, rather than an 24 episode series box set that's going to take you all winter to get through. And to be honest, you enjoyed it, but at the end of it, you probably didn't remember a lot. I think I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember the end. I definitely remember the end. It's not as memorable as Journey, which I'm still trying to work out how I'm going to talk about. But it's worth having a go. It's worth playing. If you played it, put something in the comments. If you played it and think I'm being an idiot and it's a terrible game, or maybe it's actually supposed to be for children and they probably complete it in half the time it took me. But I don't think it is. I think it's an adult game. I think it's an adult fairy tale throwback with puzzles that are a little bit different from what maybe you would normally come across. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I've got loads more to come, but let me know what you thought of this video. Give me any hints and tips, feedback, suggestions, anything like that. And let me know if you play Creepy Tale. See you next time.